Hi everyone, I'm Matt from Academia, and today we're going to be looking at an argumentative essay introduction. So as we can see on the board here, we've got the question: should governments set a curfew on when people can use the internet? So the first thing we need to do is unpack this question and look for the overall theme. So we need to look at the key words, so let's just underline them now. Alright, so that's our key words that we have there: governments, people, and the internet. So we want to write this in here under the overall theme. So that's our overall theme there. Now, when we're looking at this word, the scope, what we're talking about is the specific part related to this theme. So when we look at the question, we can see that the key word is this one here, curfew. So what we have there is a specific part of the question that we need to discuss in our essay: governments and curfew. Now, we need to make an opinion or a position connected to this idea of governments and a curfew. So we've got a few different choices. So that's the main choices that we have: strongly agree, mostly agree, or disagree. But we need to think about what exactly are we agreeing or disagreeing with. So we're going to just look at some synonyms we can use for this word, curfew. So one of the words that we can think of with a curfew is limit. Another word which is closely connected to limit, which could be useful in our essay: restrict. And another very good synonym that can be useful when writing this essay topic is control. Okay, so what we're going to do now is write up a first sentence, and then we can come back and have a look at that together to see how we can introduce the overall theme into the essay. Okay, so here we have our first sentence to introduce the general or overall theme to the essay. So sometimes it can be good to start with some kind of time expression. In recent times is a useful one that we can use here, because the internet is something obviously that's become more and more common in our society today. So when we use something like that, it's also good to remember a grammar tense that's beneficial is to use the present perfect there with in recent times. So we've introduced the topic here. We've got the key words: the prevalence of the internet, and then we're talking about concerns over use of time, and this is also connected to the idea of people in there as well, even though we haven't explicitly said that word. So this introduced our topic or theme quite well. The next sentence which we're going to prepare is this one here about the scope, and in particular using these key points about governments and curfew. So we'll start to prepare thinking about that sentence, and we'll come back in a minute and have a look at that. Okay, so now we have our scope sentence in here. So we've got a good expression that we can use as a result. This is a connective, and it can link us into the sentence before. So as a result, one method that has been suggested is to control. So there's another synonym that we can use for curfew: when people can have access to the World Wide Web. So this expression here as well is another one that we can use for the internet, because as mentioned, it's important in English that we use synonyms and different expressions to have the same meaning, as this can raise the level of our English. So now we need to make our last sentence for the introduction, which is to introduce our point of view. And so primarily, I'm going to focus on this idea of people. Which people are we talking about? So as we prepare that, we can think about it once again, and we'll come back in a moment and have a look at that sentence. So in the last sentence here for the opinionative or argumentative essay, it's very important that we do exactly that and give our opinion. So with this first phrase to start the sentence, in my view, we are saying this is my opinion. So in my view, it depends on the age of the user. So that's my opinion, and in the essay, that's what I'm going to talk about, the age of the user and whether a curfew then would be advantageous or beneficial. And then using something like this is a good way to finish off the introduction. And this will be discussed further in this essay, or this will be explained further in this essay. So something like that to finish off the introduction, and now we can then go into the body and start to explain our main ideas or reasons as to why a curfew might be beneficial for people who are younger, or maybe even older, depending on what our viewpoint is. So that's the basic introduction done there. As long as we can unpack the question, this will help us to stay on topic, and now we can then go into explaining that further.